Well, good morning to you. Welcome back to Morning Live. Let's take a look at your sports news now in this hour. Now, the 2024 Currie Cup semi-finals will be held at the Highveld this weekend, with the Lions hosting the Cheetahs and the Bulls hosting the Sharks out in the nation's capital. And to preview this match, I've roped in someone who is absolutely regarded as rugby royalty in South Africa. This is not just by age, but former Springbok player joining us here today, Victor Matfield. Victor, it's always so lovely to have you here. I think every time you come, I get alarmed by your height and your build. But let's talk Currie Cup, because we've got the semi-finals coming up now. And how does it feel for you when you look at the Currie Cup and you see it still getting the level of respect and exposure despite new tournaments coming in with bigger purses and prize money?
Yeah, I think firstly there was such a big hype around the Springboks in the last few weeks. Everyone loving the Springboks, what they've done in the last few years, how successful they've been, what they've been doing for the country. But I mean, this trophy is so special for all the players, all old players, and I think for the fans. I know a lot of, especially in the new era, especially when the pool stages go on, it's a little bit in the background, but when it comes to the semi-finals, finals, there's always this big hype around it, because there's such a big history around this cup, and we all played for it. I mean, there's some big Springboks that played over 50 games for Springs, close to 100 games, even players that's played over 100 games that haven't won this trophy. So a very special trophy with a rich history, and I mean, the 4 top teams in South Africa is there. A lot of the players are going back to the unions. We see a lot of the players that play in the URC that's playing in the semi-finals. So I think we'll see full stadiums this weekend, and it's going to be fantastic.
I want to go a little bit deeper. You speak about the best 4 teams we've got in South Africa at the moment going into this round of the semi-finals. First of all, when you look at the semis and how the teams are lining up, which one are you going to be watching?
Well, you know me, Blue Bulls, my bloed is blauw. So I think the Bulls facing the Sharks is going to be a very tough game. The Sharks started off very slowly in this competition, but they really, I think they've had like 5 or 6 wins in a row now. I think JP Peterson did a very good job there for the Sharks, getting them on a very good track, on a winning streak as well. But yeah, the Bulls has brought a lot of the URC players back last week. They lost down in Durban, but this week they're back at Fortress Loftus, so that will be a different game. So I think the Bulls will look very strong. And then the Lions is the informed team at the moment. They're doing very well. They finished top of the lock, so they will be very hard to beat. So big task for the Cheetahs to go to Emirates Airline Park and try and go upset the Lions. So I think we will see a Lions-Bulls final.
And I mean, it's just so lovely to have the semi-finals happening, and you speak about a lot of the talk has been around the Springboks, because we know they had us holding our hearts in our hands for the past 2 games against New Zealand. But just in terms of the supporters that come out in their numbers to watch these rugby games, to watch the Currie Cup semis. Let's speak to that in terms of just encouraging them to go out and come out and support the teams.
Yeah, I think we need to get our supporters at these semi-finals. I think if I think about my career itself, you always get these questions asked about the biggest game you've played in, and people always think like maybe a World Cup final or a Super Rugby final, and yes, those games are big, but I think for guys like me and Buckies, the combo, we had a game where we went down to Kings Park playing a semi-final. No one knew about us. We played against Mark Andrews, who had over 50 test matches for the Springboks. Him, Steve Atherton, had played for the Springboks. And that was the first game where we got the opportunity to play against these Springboks and showed, listen, we're the next Springbok generation. We want to come through. And that's what you're going to see in this Currie Cup. You're going to see new players coming through who's going to be the superstars in the next World Cup. So the people need to go out, go see these players, because there's some superstars in the making that's coming through the Currie Cup that's going to be the legends of tomorrow.
We speak about the legends of tomorrow, and we speak about when we look at South African rugby, from national team to the Currie Cup, we seem to be the envy of a lot of other countries when it comes to the talent we have. And just year after year, we keep on producing this talent that is able to go out and compete on the international stage. How do we then make sure that we stay where we are? Because some people say getting to the top is easy, it's staying there that's hard. How do we ensure that we stay being this dominant country when it comes to rugby?
Yeah, it's not easy to stay at the top, but I think our structures, especially at school level, are really strong. The Currie Cup is very important for us, developing new players. And then I think in the beginning we were probably a little bit against all our Springboks playing outside of the country. But we've seen now with all our Springboks playing outside of the country, we developed so many new players, and there's so much talent in South Africa. And now instead of investing in those Springbok players, other countries are paying for them, and now we can invest in our new stars coming through. So we develop a lot of players coming through. So I think our pool of players are just getting bigger, and that makes us strong. And I think that's why we're doing so well at the moment, because there's just more and more talent coming through every year.
Something else I want to touch on as I speak to you about the semis coming up. We look at the coaches and the caliber of coaches, and it's inspiring to see young coaches also coming through. I mean, you've got a JP Peterson, you've got a Pua Nomlomo. Speak to me about that element of the game and almost seeing the baton being passed down to the younger ones and saying you can actually also do it just as well as the older coaches. Yeah,
and I think it's nice for these coaches to get the opportunity in a competition like the Currie Cup. I mean, like I said, there's such a rich history in it, and there will be pressure now when it comes to semi-finals. And the nice thing is they do have the director of rugby's there. They do have the Jake Whites there. They do have the Neil Powells there that can assist them with little things as well. But these guys getting opportunity to work with the players. I mean, I know JP very well because I've played with him for so long, and fantastic guy. And I mean, he won the under-21 trophy with the Sharks. Then he came up to the Currie Cup. He brought a lot of those under-21 players. He didn't pick the senior players. He brought those players, and he showed trust, and he backed them and said, listen guys, I believe in you. And now these guys are believing in themselves, and they're doing really well. So that's what you want. You want a coach to come up there, believe in himself, and give the belief to those players. And it's great to see these young coaches coming through in a competition like the Currie Cup, where there will be a lot of pressure in the next few weeks.
All right, it's very interesting. I have to put you on the spot and put some pressure on you. We officially have the Currie Cup trophy moving into studio right now. Naas Botha also walking in to come join as we speak, of course, to Victor Matfield. Let's get Naas coming in. Hugs around everywhere. Naas, thank you so much for joining us.
See, that's what happened. If you won the Currie Cup over 10 times, you can walk around with it and it travels with you.
Right? It looks absolutely beautiful. Naas, let's speak about this Currie Cup, and let's speak about the semi-finals that are coming up this weekend. What's your pick in terms of the semis?
It's going to be quite an interesting one. I think home field always play an advantage. I know that the guys do play a lot in foreign grounds lately, but you try and always finish top of the lock, so you get that home advantage. So if we just go on that, then we're looking at Lions and Bulls. But I believe the Sharks and the Cheetahs.
That's why he's got his blue shirt on. He's definitely going for the Bulls.
I believe the Sharks and the Cheetahs would like to actually upset. But it takes a lot of hard work to finish top of the lock. So you've got to give credit to the Lions, the way they finished up.
It does take a lot of hard work to make sure you finish in that comfortable position so you do get that home semi. What we're going to do now, I'm joined, of course, in studio by Victor Matfield as well as Naas Botha, talking all things Currie Cup. We're going to take a quick pause in this conversation, go to Sakina at the main news desk just to give you your morning headlines, or rather your news at the 8 o'clock hour, and then come back and wrap up this discussion with the two legends of rugby.